Hello everyone, welcome back to Bloom and Wander. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Carla, and here I'm talking about creating a life that is simple and rich and more intentional. So if you're curious about that, especially if you're a woman in your 40s, 50s, 60s, beyond, and you're looking to create that kind of life that's more simplified yet full of more adventure and more intentionality, you're in the right place. So today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind lately, even though I'm kind of late in the season for it. Decluttering, spring cleaning, even though we're in the middle of summer. So I know there's probably like 1,000 videos on how to declutter your home and how to get organized and all that on YouTube. But that's only a little bit of what I want to talk about. I want to go into more the purpose of just cleaning out your closets. There's more to it than that. So I want to create options for us. So we're trying to create not just more physical space, but more mental space, and maybe get a little money behind our eventual, home-based business, career change, what have you, that we're looking for to live a new life. So if you've ever thought, I don't have enough money to travel, or I wish I could start a side business, or I want to downsize someday, then decluttering is probably the first step in that process. So let's dive in. So why do we keep too much stuff? I think for a lot of us, particularly those of us who are in the middle of life, we've been raised with a certain mindset. And a lot of that is, don't waste what you have. Hang on to something you don't know. It might be useful someday. Don't throw anything away. Well, that in theory, that's okay. But if you hang on to stuff and then you never put it to use, you're just taking up space. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. And, certainly there's a lot of mental energy that goes into hanging on things that either no longer have use or you never have put to use. You don't really have to save the good dishes. You don't have to hang on to every Christmas card you've ever received, or every birthday card you've ever received, or every little craft that your kids made when they were little. It's cute, but you can't hang on to it forever. You're not going to be buried with it, more than likely. So there's wisdom in being resourceful with what you have, and that includes the space that you have. So I've moved several times over the last few decades, including an international move. And I've always had to ask myself the question, like, do I really want to hang on to this? Do I want to pay to move this? Do I want to take an extra suitcase along and pay the extra suitcase fee just so this can go with me? More often than not, the answer is no. And it's at the time, it seems like it's giving yourself an ultimatum, like, what do I want to hang on to? But it's also freeing. You realize, like, once it's gone, you really don't miss it. Things do have their use, and yeah, there's always that fear that I'm going to do away with something and then I'm going to need it later on. But honestly, that's been rare for me. And when it does come up, I can always either buy it again or borrow it or, do without in some way. So the idea came to me as I was reading some books on home organization and decluttering, which I'll get to in a little bit. But the idea came to me that your house isn't meant to be a storage unit for the past. It's not supposed to be a storage unit for all your memories. That's what your brain is for. For your present life, it's supposed to be functionality and livability, and, as Marie Kondo would say, joy. It's not supposed to be like you hanging on to a version of yourself that was good 20 years ago. So everything has value, but one of the biggest mindset shifts is realizing that almost everything can be valuable to someone else. So just because it's yours and it was useful to you in the past doesn't mean that it still is. It means that if you move it forward onto someone else, whether that's through donation or through selling it on Marketplace or whatever, you're giving that kind of value to someone. You're freeing up that part of you that no longer is finding use and value in the item, and it's a gift for someone else, even if they're paying for it, if you know what I mean. So all those sweaters that you never wear anymore, all those books that are gathering dust, someone's searching for them. The kitchen appliances that you bought with great intentions, raise your hand if you got an Instapot when those became popular, or an air fryer. That could be, something for someone's first apartment. A young family might be dreaming of their first camping trip, and they might need your tent that you're not using. Those children's toys. Most parents, daycares, church daycares, whatever, they would be great. They would be so thankful to have those donations. So where you see inventory, someone else might see treasure and opportunity. So let's talk about selling stuff. Marketplace is great. Yard sale is great. eBay's great. Amazon reseller programs. What else? There's so many different ways to sell your stuff nowadays. You don't need to become a full-time reseller. It doesn't have to be like your new job is reselling stuff unless you really like it. But just, selling a handful of things here and there can add up really fast. Just this spring, I sold some things I had laying around the house, some of which were really kind of hard to part with, but it created so much more space for me since I'm, in the middle of a living space transition. And that was an extra $500-600 for me that I really needed at the time. So let's see. Facebook Marketplace is a good place to start. It's probably where I would start. Just because, your friends and family, people people they know will see it first. I mean, you have the option of hiding it from people but I don't think you should do that. I think, once people see it and see that you've got it for sale, they can tell other people about it, and you can help sell it quicker. Plus, you can do local drop-offs. You can meet somebody in a church parking lot or at the post office or police station, whatever. No shipping. They can pick it right up. Furniture moves great that way. Bookshelves, lamps, big items, definitely Marketplace. Tools, especially, outdoor furniture. You can furnish your entire house and your entire apartment just through Facebook Marketplace. Make sure that you take good pictures of it using good light. Everything's cleaned up first. That you're writing good, honest descriptions. You're pricing it fairly. If you have a hard time writing description, take a picture of it and let ChatGPT do it for you. Honestly, that's the fastest way to do it. Not everybody's a writer. Not everybody has to be. Respond to your messages quickly, because if you don't respond quickly, then people lose interest and it's on to the next thing. Meet in a safe space publicly to exchange money in the items. Use cash. Cash is preferable, but if you don't want to use cash, Venmo. Let's see. eBay is another good option, especially if you're selling collectibles. I think that's still the number one place where, collectible people go, where, you can get baseball cards and trinkets and what have you. Out of print books, a lot of times you can see them on eBay. They might bring out the better prices, and you certainly get more eyeballs on them, and you get international sales that way. The downside is, of course, having to pack and ship stuff, but once you get in the hang of that and it becomes routine, it's not that big of a deal. Poshmark. I don't have personal experience selling clothing on Poshmark, but I know a lot of people are happy with it, especially if you have like good quality stuff, like name brand stuff. Local stores, consignment places, that's another option, especially with clothing. Um, let's see, what else? That's all I can think of. Oh, Craigslist. Nah, some people still use it. I don't really use it anymore, simply because in my area it's not real popular and it's kind of scammy, or gotten that way. In a bigger city, I think it might be all right. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. Is Craigslist still a good place to sell stuff? Real estate maybe, but like clothing and household items. Donations. How do you donate intentionally? Not everything needs to be sold, and not everything should be sold. Some items can be a blessing to someone else. I mentioned toys and stuff earlier, donating those to kids who need stuff, or daycare centers or churches. It feels good to... It's sad when you think of your kid not playing with that stuff anymore, but then when you see somebody else's kid to start to play with it and get joy out of it, it's pretty sweet. It feels pretty good. Takes some of the sting off of it a little. Professional clothing. Oh, women's shelters. Yes, donate your professional clothing, because those ladies got to get out there and get a job and support, they're single moms. A lot of the times I got to support an entire family, get a whole new career. So professional clothing is in need, especially shoes. What else? Oh, job training organizations would use it too. Prisons. That's, a lot of people forget that, people got to get out and they got to wear something when they get out. So look into like prison reentry programs. Libraries. If you have a lot of good books, sometimes like your public library will take them, and if they can't use them, then they can use them in a book sale. Or if your town has a lot of those little free libraries set up, you can put them there. They snatch them right up, especially children's books. I notice those seem to go faster than anything. Pet supplies, you can donate to animal shelters. Craft supplies, senior centers, love those. Again, prisons, particularly women's prisons, although you'll have to check with them first, the kind of stuff they will and won't accept, because obviously some stuff, if it can be used as a weapon, they can't have that. But, check with them first. Churches, after school programs, blankets, homeless outreach shelters, love blankets. Women's shelters use blankets. Kitchen stuff. So when families need to start over after losing their home, like in a fire or disaster, they'll need kitchen items. A lot of times your churches will have a place for that, or they will know where that kind of thing will go. So check with them. The goal isn't just to get stuff out of your house and get stuff out of your garage. The goal is to put it into the hands of somebody who's going to appreciate it. Passing on that feeling, not just the item. Bringing joy into somebody else's life. Trading instead of buying. That's something that I need to utilize more, especially when it comes to things that I think I'm really going to love using, and then I use it once and then I never use it again. i.e. exercise equipment, sewing machines. I love sewing, but I just, unless I intentionally make time in my day, it doesn't happen. So next time I get a hankering for a sewing machine, I think I'm gonna see if I can't trade or barter my way into one. One of my favorite ideas is to host a swap party, clothing swap parties. At one point they were called like Bitch and Stitch. I think that's a real fun idea that needs to make a comeback. Book swap parties are great. House plants. That's another one to get together with a group of people and swap, make some snacks, have some drinks, and tell people to bring a bag full of their stuff, and everybody just loots everybody else's bag and goes home happy with, full belly full of snacks. Kitchen gadgets, that's another one. Everybody's got them and wants to get rid of them. Puzzles. That's another good swap idea. Craft supplies, again, holiday decorations. You know, what might be junk to you because it was from 20 years ago, somebody else might think it's kitschy and cool and they want to use it for their first apartment. Those kinds of parties are great because everybody shops for free and you go home with a bag of cool stuff. No money has to change hands, and it creates a sense of community and cooperation that I think that regular shopping misses. So the buy nothing movement, have you heard of this? Free cycling. If you haven't heard of it, you might look into it. I think there's usually, a Facebook group in everybody's big area, the bigger areas, where it's like it's a group where people like give their stuff away, or they'll post like, hey, I'm looking for a new student desk for my kid who's going to college. Anybody have one? And then someone will post, hey, I've got a basket full of dishes. If you need it, come get it. I'm sitting on my front porch. That kind of thing. It's just bartering and people being generous, and people give away furniture. People would give away gently used baby clothes. If you've got a kid, that they're constantly outgrowing stuff, it's a good way to get some new stuff, or to pass it on to somebody who needs it. Tomatoes, garden vegetables, like if you've got like zucchini running out your ears or corn or whatever, that's a good way to say, come pick up a bag of corn that's on my front porch, or let me drop it off at your place or at your work. It's a good way to get rid of the stuff that is weighing you down and pass it on and make somebody else happy. Creative repurposing. So not everything needs to end up in the trash. Lord knows we've got enough of the trash. It could come back to life as something else. So an old ladder can become a blanket rack, for example. I've got a whole bunch of ideas written down here. Glass jars become pantry storage. Old t-shirts can become cleaning rags. Or if they're in good condition, find somebody who can make one of those cool t-shirt quilts. Eventually, I want to get all my concert t-shirts together and have somebody create one of those, or my D&D t-shirts. I want to make them into like a t-shirt quilt. I think that'd be really cool. Wood pallets can become garden planters if you know somebody who works with wood. Old furniture can be painted and transformed. DIY skills are like giving yourself another source of income. It's also a cool way to not have to buy brand new stuff, just redo the stuff that's laying around. So anytime you can repair something or paint something and make it new, it's money that stays in your pocket. Okay, so time to be realistic. Not everything needs to be kept. Repeat after me. Not everything needs to be kept. Some stuff is trash, and that's okay. We can't hang on to everything. So broken electronics, especially that you're never going to use again. TV repairmen and that kind of thing don't exist anymore. Throw it out. Expired makeup, throw it out. Old medications. There's usually like a take back program at pharmacies, so look around. They do that at least once or twice a year. Anything moldy, anything mildewy, especially mildewed books. I love books, but man, if they're covered in mildew, they're not salvageable, and my allergies do not want them in my house. So please give them a good burial out at the landfill, 21 gun salute if you got it, but let them go. Damaged paperwork that you've already got a digital copy of, let it go. Clothes that are beyond repair, let them go. Broken plastic storage containers, anything with missing lids. Holding on to stuff like that doesn't prepare us for anything. It just makes life harder to enjoy, and it takes up space. Don't try and donate that kind of stuff either. Nobody needs your broken garbage. Oh, and while we're on the subject, when you're donating food, please, please, please check the expiration dates. I've gone to food banks before and gotten a load of expired food, and it's like, you don't want to make somebody sick. Just, it's bad enough needing to, get your food from a food bank. You don't need to get sick off of it. So decluttering, it funds your dreams. At least it can. So the really cool thing is, like, every time you save $20 not buying it new, or $20, fixing it up and selling it to someone else, that's money in your freedom fund, as I like to call it. That can fund, part of a plane ticket somewhere. That can fund, a piece of office equipment, or a piece of equipment for your new business. That stuff adds up, and before you know it, you've got hundreds of dollars, thousands. If you don't spend the money and you invest it or put it in your savings account for your eventual business, for your freedom fund, that can be a hiking trip on the weekend. That can be your emergency savings. That can be a passport or a passport renewal. That can help pay down your debt, buy new camera equipment, anything to launch your side business, putting into your index funds. It's not just about having less stuff. It's about creating more possibility with that stuff. Prevent your clutter from returning. So now that you've decided to turn over a new leaf and be more intentional with your stuff, with your items, please, please, please don't fill up your empty spaces with more junk. Prevent it from coming back. So before I buy something, I ask myself, do I really need this right now? I read somewhere that if you're on Amazon and you're like wanting to buy something, put it in your cart, but then wait 24 hours and see if you still want to buy it. And 9 times out of 10, I don't need it anymore. They have a feature on that where you can like save for later too. So if it comes up again, you can always do that. But it's a good way of getting into the habit of asking yourself, do I really need this right now? It saved me a lot of money. So yeah, wait 24 to 48 hours on all impulse purchases. Borrow when possible. Rent specialized equipment instead of buying it. Choose quality over quantity. And that doesn't just go for items, that goes for life experiences. Quality over quantity. Own what serves your life and release what only serves your guilt. Something worth remembering. My cat is here. She wants to say hi. You want to say hi, Jinxie? She says hi. So as I get older, I've realized that the richest people I know are people who don't necessarily have the biggest houses and the brand new car and all that. It's people who have had really cool life experiences. They know where their stuff is. They know they're not overwhelmed with maintaining stuff that doesn't serve them. They have room in their lives for new things, new experiences, and new people. And that's the kind of life that I want to create too. And I hope that that's the kind of life that you're with me wanting to create. So remember, you don't have to change your whole house in one weekend, but just start with one small space. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, share it with someone who you think needs it. And until next time, live well, roam freely, create boldly, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.